Hey there, Heather. Hello there. It's Jeff Kidder Diving. Welcome you to a draw video. Doing another classic soccer tournament, and this time it's the WC Surprises Tourney, or the World Cup Surprises Tourney, if you will. Now, what I did was I went through the video that HITC Sevens did on YouTube called "Biggest Surprises of Every World Cup from 1930 to 2018," and I named the biggest surprises of the World Cup according to what he says and according to what I think too. There were some that I knew right off the bat without needing HITC's help, if you will, quote unquote help. Of course, that video was before the 2022 tournament. Of course, as you can see, 2022 is Morocco. Obviously, I mean, the first African team to make the semifinals in history. Come on, you know that was going to happen. There are other countries. So I'll explain the countries and the year and why they're a surprise. Okay, 1930 was USA for getting to the semifinals. Well, a lot of the main powerful soccer nations didn't really compete because, back in 1930, you to get from one continent to the other, you have to use ships and all that. You couldn't really use airplanes like you can nowadays. And the Americans made the semifinals because, well, they didn't have to go far. They had to go from North America to South America for the tournament. 1934 is Austria. They were actually the biggest surprise losing to Italy. Austria was the powerhouse in 34. But unfortunately, because Italy basically had Mussolini handpick Italy's referees and all that, that's what happened. 1938 is Cuba. That team actually went to a quarterfinal against Sweden. No, sorry, they faced Sweden in the first round. What they did in 1938 was have knockout stages for round of 16, no group stages. So what happened was Cuba faced Sweden, they tied Sweden, they went to a replay and beat the Swedes to get to the quarterfinals. 1950 is the United States. For obvious reasons, if you're really a soccer aficionado, you know that 1950 was when the U.S. defeated England to shock everyone 1-0. Of course, that goal was not really on film, and American newspapers actually thought it was 10-1. That the mistake was that the 0 was 10 for England, not 0. But yeah, the Americans won 1-0 in 1950, so they shocked England. 1954 is West Germany surprising the powerful magic Magyars of Hungary, who really look like they were world beaters. I mean, they beat England twice, and they looked good. They beat West Germany the first game 8-3, and then somehow they met in the final, and Germany came back from 2-0 down to beat the Hungarians. 1958 is Sweden because, well, the home nation, but Sweden wasn't really much of a soccer nation in the World Cup stage. But they got the World Cup in 1958. They allowed their three aging forwards to play for Sweden, even though that they were playing overseas in Italy. They let them play for the Swedish national team, and Sweden got to the final, lost to Brazil, and thanks to the 17-year-old Pele. But still good. 1962 was Chile. After all, they were the host country and they did beat Italy in one of the most violent games of all time. David Coleman for the BBC said that before you see this match, it's the stupid, ugliest game in football history. 1966 is North Korea. Well, no surprise, it is North Korea. Because, after all, I think a lot of people would realize 1966 was North Korea, and I didn't really need HITC's help. After all, North Korea struggled in the first two games. They had a win and what was it, a tie and a loss or something? And then they faced Italy, the team that looked good. And then somehow in Middlesbrough, North Korea, who were treated kindly by the Middlesbrough people, even though that they were trying to send North Korea far, far away from the capital because of their communism thing, beat Italy 1-0, got to the quarterfinals. Italy was pelted with tomatoes after arriving, and then North Korea actually took a 3-0 lead on Portugal in the quarterfinal before succumbing 5-3. 1970 was Peru. HITC said it was Peru, and I kind of agree with it. I don't really have much on that. 1974 is East Germany. So the 1974 East Germans, the team that faced West Germany in group stage matches and beat them 1-0. A lot of people speculate that the West Germans purposely lost the game because they wanted to make East Germany kind of look good, but then, get themselves into a better situation for qualifying for the subsequent Playoff rounds. Yeah, East Germany, Sparwasser was the only goal for East Germany, but they didn't go far after that. 1978 was Peru. After all, they nipped Scotland quite easily. In Scotland, we're world beaters and all that. We're supposed to be world beaters. That's what they said in their World Cup song. And of course, Peru got there. They had a good goalie, Quiroga. Unfortunately, Peru suffered a 6-0 loss to Argentina in their final game, which had a little suspicion that Peru needed to keep Argentina from not. If Argentina won by 4 or more, Argentina would be going to the final. If not, goal differential would have given Brazil the trip to the final. And of course, Peru kind of lied down for that game. But still, there were massive surprises. 1982 is Algeria. Looking good. They even beat West Germany, but of course, West Germany and Austria both signified that 1-0 game for West Germany to allow both countries to get in ahead of Algeria, and Algerians cried fix. And you know what? They were right. But the good news about that game, that that fix, was that it made a rule for World Cup soccer nowadays that each one of the last group stage games have to kick off simultaneously so that there's no fixing it. 1986 was Morocco. HITC said Morocco. I don't know. I would have said Portugal by proxy, but he said Morocco. And I'm like, okay, yeah, because they were tops of the group. They were tops of the group with Portugal, England, and Poland, was it? Yeah, it was Poland. Those three countries. 1990 was Cameroon. He figured it was Cameroon, and I thought it was Costa Rica, but no, Cameroon, because Cameroon were the first African. Were they the first African team to make a quarterfinals? I think they were. And they were just minutes away from beating England and going to the semifinals against West Germany. But all this, well, and Cameroon beat Argentina in the first game of the World Cup 1-0. But Cameroon were also close, but of course, a couple of Gary Lineker penalties later, and Cameroon were knocked out. 1994, well, he said 94 was Saudi Arabia, but I would tend to disagree. I go with Bulgaria. Because Bulgaria slipped through. They got to the semifinals, quarterfinals against Germany, a unified Germany this time, and Bulgaria surprisingly won on the goal by Lechkov. I know that Bulgaria then fell to Sweden for third place, but yeah, Bulgaria shocked a lot of people. 98 is Croatia. The first time Croatia did it as a separate nation from Yugoslavia. They broke off, and they actually shocked a lot of people by beating Germany in the quarterfinals. They went to the semis against France, and if it wasn't for a spotty foul, that should not have been a red card for the Croatians. Croatia might have beaten France and gone to the final. But Croatia, thanks to Davin Suker, who won the goal scoring thing, booted a couple goals in the third place game and got Croatia third place. 2002 is South Korea. Well, I know it's spotty and all that for the soccer fans. Say that, but yeah, South Korea surprised a lot of people. They weren't supposed to do well. They were in a group with Germany, the United States, and Portugal, if memory serves me right. And of course, no, not Germany, US, Poland, and Portugal. And Korea got top two. The US shocked Portugal in that tournament because Portugal were supposed to be good, but then they faltered flat. And then Korea got to the round of 16 against Italy. Italy should have won that game fair and square, but of course the referees were biased in a sense. And then they had the golden goal by Korea, and then the guy who scored for Korea actually ended up. He was playing for an Italian team, and they basically cut him loose, but they put him back on the team because of international pressure. Korea got to the semifinals, lost that game, and then lost the third place game to Turkey. Although I could have said Turkey as a surprise too, because Turkey's not really a soccer nation. 2006 was Italy. Not a lot of World Cup surprises, but Italy surprised a lot of people by making it to the semifinals against Germany in Germany and scoring on a goal by Grasso. Gol di Grasso, Gol di Grasso. And then Italy winning over France in the final. A lot of people thought France deserved it. And Italy had the Calcio Polio betting scandal ahead for a lot of Italian club teams. So that was the problem. And they won the World Cup. 2010 is Slovakia. I go with Slovakia because, they beat Italy. which is like, how the heck can you beat Italy? But yeah, of course, Italy. Well, the biggest surprises is for positive surprises, not like negative surprises. In a sense, Italy would 2010 Italy would have been there. 2002 France would have been on this list, but no. So Slovakia, because of that, gets in. 2014 is Costa Rica getting to the quarterfinals. Like they were really big names on the international soccer stage. I know they faced Greece in the first knockout game, but Costa Rica held their own in a group with Italy, England, and Uruguay, and did quite well. And in 2018, Croatia, who went all the way to the final, a lot of people were shocked about how Croatia did that. So let's go ahead and let's save it. Preliminary round draw. So there's 22 teams, so there will be um, 10 teams are in automatically into the round of 16. There will be 6 matchups for them to join. So here we go. First team is Austria. They will face off against 2014 Costa Rica. Okay. 1990 Cameroon will face 1966 North Korea. Oh, that's going to be an interesting one. 1930 USA will face 1982 Algeria. 2006 Italy will face off against 1986 Morocco. 1938 Cuba will face 2022 Morocco. 1950 USA will face 2018 Croatia. So doing the math, 1938, the 1954 surprises West Germany, they're in. 58 Sweden's in. 62 Chile is into the round of 16 automatically. Peru, 1970, 74. Who did I say 74? Yeah, 74 East Germany, 78 Peru is into the round of 16 automatically. 94 Bulgaria is in. 98 Croatia is in. 2002 South Korea is in the round of 16 automatically. And 2010 Slovakia, and that's it. So yeah, so those are the countries are in. So yeah, there'll be 6 preliminary round matches and all that that we'll just take a look at and then just do our own little things. All right. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.